Greetings. Today we continue part 2, the weeping produced by the word. We're looking at Psalm 119, and we're going to look back as we begin today, as we consider the shift that's going on from the first 5 uses to something new here in the 6th, to verse 20, where it says, "My soul breaketh for the longing that it hath unto thy judgment at all time." Again, verse 25, "My soul cleaveth to the dust. Quicken thou me according to thy word." Verse 28, "My soul melteth for heaviness. Strengthen thou me according to thy word." Verse 81, "My soul fainteth for thy salvation, but I hope in thy word." Verse 109, "My soul is continually in my hand, yet I forget not thy law." Now, in these first 5 uses that we've recounted, David seems to indicate his soul is being defeated under fleshly influences. However, in this use, in the remaining 2 uses, he seems to indicate triumph of his soul by spiritual influences. I think we ought to repeat that, because it's important to us. In the first 5 uses, David seems to indicate his soul is being defeated under fleshly influences. But in the 6th and then the 7th and 8th uses, he seems to indicate the triumph of his soul by means of spiritual influences. And I would say that observation and experience tells me this fact is true of every man. His soul is defeated under fleshly influences and triumphs under spiritual influences. The word keep is once again the word equivalent to the New Testament word observe, as is noted in the Great Commission in Matthew 28, verses 18 through 20. That brings us to verse 130 of Psalm 119, where he says, "The entrance of thy words giveth light. It giveth understanding unto the simple." This verse further explains why David committed his soul to know, to guard, and to observe the testimonies concerning God's works, which were wonderful. Entrance, the word means an opening, a disclosure, just as we would use the word entrance. See, he says when we open God's word, it discloses truths which will enlighten us if we should allow them to enter into our minds, into our hearts. This is exactly what the psalmist declares. "The entrance of thy words gives light." Our word epiphany, which is the word that we commonly refer to as the light bulb moment, would express this concept exactly. Understanding means to discern mentally. This is the 8th of 10 uses in Psalm 119 and was translated understanding 9 times and considered in the 10th. 7 of the 10 are direct requests for understanding to be given by God. The other 3 acknowledge the result of the request being granted. We have previously referenced Psalm 19 and verse 7 and Proverbs 1:4 as related passages on this thought. However, I think we should also consider at this time James 1:5 in this regard, when it says, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him." The simple one of Psalm 119, 130 is the same person which James described as the one who lacks wisdom. I believe that wisdom and understanding go hand in hand. Both refer to the application of knowledge in a correct manner. Knowledge is not profitable without understanding and wisdom. God has promised through his word and spirit to give wisdom and understanding to anyone who will ask him for it and seek after it. And this is exactly what David does in Psalm 119, verse 131. He said, I opened my mouth and panted, for I long for thy commandments. The word opened is only here in this psalm and 3 times elsewhere in the Old Testament. It means to yawn, to open the mouth wide, or to gape. As in Job 16:10, they have gaped upon me with their mouth. They have smitten me upon the cheek reproachfully. They have gathered themselves together against me. Again in Job 29:23, he says, they waited for me as the rain, and they opened their mouth wide as for the latter rain. Isaiah 5:14, therefore hell hath enlarged herself, and opened her mouth without measure, and their glory and their multitude and their pomp, and he that rejoices shall descend into it.